Good morning, White Sox fans. This is the Sox Machine White Sox wake-up call for Thursday, June 15, 2023. I'm Josh Nelson. Last night, the White Sox were on a 3-game losing streak, needed a win to keep pace within the American League Central. They did get some good news as Eloy Jimenez returned to the lineup, batting fourth as a DH. But in true White Sox fashion, there was some bad news as Yoan Moncada's back is barking up again. Manager Pedro Grifol pregame hinted at a possible injured list stint in the near future. Yay! But snapping the losing streak wasn't going to be easy because Clayton Kershaw was starting for the Dodgers. Turning back the clock in 2023, Kershaw at age 35 entered the game with a 2.2 WAR according to Baseball Reference. That includes a 2.95 ERA in 13 starts and an 8-4 win-loss record. Mike Clevinger made the start for the White Sox, and the Dodgers have not been friendly to Clevinger in 3 career starts before last night. The Dodgers have hit Clevinger at a tune of .291 with a .365 on-base percentage, slugging .582, scoring 14 runs off of Clevinger in just 13 innings. It was a great start to the game for Jake Burger. He made a nice diving stop to rob Mookie Betts of a hit, and then in the second inning, belted his 14th home run of the season, a solo shot to give the White Sox a quick 1-0 lead. But the White Sox did threaten for more. The bases were loaded for Tim Anderson, but all he could do against a high curveball from Kershaw was hit a chopper to third base for the groundout and ending the threat. In the third inning, ball and air offense was activated again, but this time for Luis Robert Jr., who smashed a solo home run to left field, his 16th of the season. Suddenly, the White Sox were up 2-0 on Kershaw and the Dodgers. Tim Anderson, again, had another opportunity to bust the game wide open. After Yasmani Grandal doubled and Elvis Andrus drew his second walk, both advanced on a wild pitch to be in scoring position. But all Anderson could muster is a chopper in front of the plate, which Kershaw slid, fielded the ball, got up on his feet to make a throw in time to beat Anderson at first base. It was an incredible defensive play by Kershaw. Meanwhile, Clevinger was cruising. After 4 innings, he only allowed 3 hits with 2 walks and 5 strikeouts, and then disaster struck. On a 95.3 mile-per-hour fastball to J.D. Martinez, which Martinez fouled off, clearly something gave in Clevinger's throwing arm. He was trying to shake it off, but dropped to his knees in pain when the trainers arrived. They eventually took his glove and ushered Clevinger into the clubhouse. It was the 77th pitch of the game for Clevinger, and now we wait for the final verdict about Clevinger's throwing arm. The initial report from the White Sox is bicep soreness for Clevinger, specifically right bicep soreness. Remember, Clevinger already has 2 Tommy John surgeries, and we've seen bicep soreness before for a White Sox pitcher become something larger, especially with Carlos Rodon, who had shoulder and Tommy John surgery while with the White Sox. Replacing Clevinger was Gregory Santos as he inherited runners on the corners with 2 out situation, but Santos got Martinez to whiff on a slider for a strikeout, ending the threat. Following half inning, the White Sox benefited from 2 bad plays from Dodgers shortstop Miguel Rojas. One was a fielding error on a hot grounder from Burger that Rojas tried to field it like a little leaguer with poor footwork, shuffling to his right. Then on a grounder from Andrew Benintendi, Rojas made an ill-advised toss to Betts at second base, who couldn't beat Burger to the bag. But Kershaw struck out Grandal and Clint Frazier, and then Rojas made a nifty play to rob Elvis Andrus of an infield single to pick and throw out Burger on a fielder's choice to third base. In the bottom half of the 6th inning for Santos, and boy, it was a special inning for the White Sox defense. After Santos deflected a comebacker from David Peralta that redirected to Tim Anderson for an infield single, Santos would allow 2 more singles to Chris Taylor and Jason Hayward. Clint Frazier fielded Hayward's base hit well enough to make a strong throw to home, if not a little bit off target. But Peralta wasn't going home. The Dodgers were satisfied to have the bases loaded, nobody out. And somehow, Grandal missed on blocking the throw as it bounced away from him. And then Santos was nowhere near to back up his catcher. Now Peralta scored the first run for the Los Angeles Dodgers in embarrassing fashion for the White Sox defense. Sure, Santos should be backing up Grandal, and that is a mistake on the pitcher, but good Lord, Grandal should have blocked that throw from Frazier. It was not a difficult play to make. Grifol then swapped out Santos for Aaron Bummer, who proceeded to walk Miguel Vargas to load the bases. After his strikeout, Bummer got a slow chopper from Austin Barnes. Now, Tim Anderson fielded the chopper in front of second base, but he decided to make a soft toss to second base instead of going to first base for the short out. Let me explain this. As a shortstop, when you're cutting in front of the bag, your body movement is heading to first base. That makes it a lot easier, more of a direct throw to first base. While you're moving and trying to soft toss to the side is a complicated play. And when you got a runner barreling down to second base, it's going to be a tight play. It's sometimes just too big of a risk because if the soft toss is too high or too slow and the runner beats it, well, then the runner at first is going to be safe. You need an out in this situation. Well, to complicate matters, Elvis Andrus wasn't even ready for the toss, and his foot wasn't even on the bag. So when he caught the toss from Anderson, he didn't have a foot on the bag. So again, just like the throw to home from Clint Frazier, the soft toss to second base, the primary and backup defensive plays here were just not there for the White Sox defense. On this particular play, Pedro Grifol wanted to challenge the call, but for some reason, the umpire crew wouldn't let him. After some heated words with the umpires, Pedro Grifol was ejected. Shortly after Grifol was ejected, Charlie Montoyo took Aaron Bummer out of the game, brought in Joe Kelly, then Mookie Betts singled to right field, and all of a sudden it's a 4-2 ball game for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Facing old friend Yency Almonte, the White Sox struck back in the 8th inning. Eloy Jimenez doubled, and Jake Burger belted a hanging slider down the left field line that hit the foul pole for his second home run of the night. Despite the poor defensive play coughing up the lead in the 6th inning, the White Sox found new life. Andrew Benintendi was hit by a pitch right on the pinky of his right hand. That's been sore. And he would advance to second base off a wild pitch setting the table for Clint Frazier. In a 9-pitch battle that saw Frazier foul off 4 pitches, he finally timed a fastball right to poke a grounder through the infield. Benintendi scored, and the White Sox retook the lead 5-4. In the 9th inning, Andrew Vaughn walked and scooted over to third base when Luis Robert doubled down the left field line. With the infield drawn in, Eloy Jimenez did a good job of keeping his hands inside on a hanging slider to hit a line drive to center field, just over the second baseman's glove. And if the second baseman was there a second earlier, that would have been a double play. It did drive in the White Sox 6th run of the night, so now they have a little bit of a cushion. Andrew Benintendi tried to do a drag bunt because, again, he got hit in the hand, so it's not feeling great. It went foul. On the next pitch, Andrew Benintendi hit a single down the third baseline that beat the infield shift, and all of a sudden the White Sox were ahead 8-4. The White Sox offense was 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position entering the 8th inning. They finished 4 for 6 with runners in scoring position in the 8th and 9th innings. Kendall Graveman took the 9th inning after a brief power outage at Dodger Stadium that lasted roughly about 10 seconds, and the game ended on a Chris Taylor-made double play. So the White Sox win 8-4 in a very weird way. Jake Burger went 2 for 5 with 2 homers and 3 RBIs. Luis Robert was 2 for 5 with a home run. Eloy Jimenez was 2 for 5 with an RBI. Yasmani Grandal was 3 for 5, and Clint Frazier was 2 for 5 with an RBI. Tim Anderson went 0 for 5, and now his season OPS is .590. I'm sure he'll bat leadoff tomorrow. The White Sox are now 30-39. No getaway day for the White Sox as the schedule has another late night for fans in the Central Time Zone. First pitch is going to be at 9:10 p.m. Central Time as Dylan Cease takes the mound. In back-to-back starts, Cease has only allowed 1 earned run in each game, and that's a good thing as the White Sox hitters are barely giving him a cushion by scoring 2 runs in each of Cease's last 2 starts. Regardless of the run support, Cease has gone 11 1/3 innings in his last 2 starts, allowing just 6 hits, 1 being a home run, with 5 walks and 13 strikeouts. The Los Angeles Dodgers love taking walks, so that's one metric to watch closely for Cease tonight. If Cease can make it 3 straight starts, allowing 1 run or fewer, White Sox hitters should be able to give him more support. I say should because we all know that the position players are underperforming, and they have the task of facing Michael Grove. Limited to 85 pitches, Grove has made 5 starts for the Dodgers with 6 appearances. In his last 2 outings, Grove has allowed 4 earned runs in each of those outings, off of 11 hits and 9 innings of work. While that should be a tantalizing trend for White Sox hitters, Grove does a good job of not giving out many free passes. We'll see if the White Sox can finally hit a back-end right-handed starter. You can watch the game on NBC Sports Chicago or listen on ESPN 1000 AM. Down on the farm, what a barn burner in Durham as the Charlotte Knights visited the Bulls. The Knights scored 7 runs in the first inning and added 3 more in the third inning. Eric Gonzalez hit his second home run of the season in that third inning as the Knights won 11-7. Adam Hazley went 3 for 6. Victor Reyes went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Oscar Colas went 1 for 5 with an RBI. Knights starting pitcher Nate Fisher went 6 innings, allowed 3 hits, all solo home runs with 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. The Knights are 31-34. Birmingham was up 4-2 going into the 9th inning against the Tennessee Smokies, but Andrew Perez blew the save as the Smokies scored 3 runs in the 9th to win 5-4. Moises Castillo and Tyler Neslony both hit home runs. Christian Mena had a good outing. He went 6 innings, allowed 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts on 95 pitches. Winston-Salem Dash were down 4-0 heading into the 6th inning against Asheville. But Cabrera Weaver hit his 3rd home run of the 2023 season, a 2-run shot in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Dash went to work in the 7th inning with bases loaded, scoring 4 runs to eventually win 6-4. Weaver was 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs as he had the go-ahead hit in the 7th inning. Starting pitcher Jonathan Cannon threw 93 pitches but went 4 2/3 innings, allowed 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk. He did strike out 8, but he gave up 2 home runs. His season ERA is now 2.98. Tim Elko hits another home run, his 14th of the season, this time a 3-run shot, and it helps power the Kannapolis Cannonballers to a 4-2 win over the Down East Wood Ducks. Elko now has 50 RBIs in 56 games in A-ball. Why he's still there is beyond me. Starting pitcher Shane Murphy, the White Sox 14th round pick of the 2022 draft out of Chandler Gilbert Community College, went 4 scoreless innings with 2 hits, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. News around Major League Baseball. The Nevada Assembly and Senate have approved government funding for the new athletic stadium that will take place of the current Tropicana Resort on Las Vegas Strip. The last step is Nevada Governor Joe Lombardi to sign the bill. After that, Major League Baseball owners will vote to approve the relocation of the Athletics to Las Vegas. If you're wondering how quickly this will turn out, according to the Athletics' Evan Drellich, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred has a scheduled press conference tomorrow. Amazing how governments work when giving out public money to billionaires. In injury news, the Houston Astros got 2 bad injury updates. First, Yordan Alvarez is now expected to miss the next 4 weeks with a strained oblique, according to Astros general manager Dana Brown. A for sure all-star, Alvarez is hitting .277 with a .388 on-base percentage, slugging .589 with 17 home runs in 2023, along with 55 RBIs. Now Jose Abreu will have to pick up his play. The second bad injury news for the Astros is starting pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. will miss all of the 2023 season with forearm surgery. Since 2021, McCullers Jr. has only made 8 starts for the Astros, but is hopeful he'll be healthy for opening day 2024. Thanks to Oakland's 7-game winning streak, the Kansas City Royals now own Major League Baseball's worst record, and they just lost their best hitter. Vinny Pasquantino is out for the rest of the 2023 season with a torn labrum. Pasquantino in 61 games hit .247 with a .324 on-base percentage, slugging .437, with 9 home runs and 26 RBIs for the Royals. While he's got a lot of hitting talent, Pasquantino in the last 2 seasons has played just 133 games. Scores around Major League Baseball. Man, what has happened to the St. Louis Cardinals? They were up 5-0 after the 3rd inning. The Cardinals gave up the tying run in the 9th inning thanks to Mike Yastrzemski's 2-run homer. And then the San Francisco Giants scored 3 runs at the top of the 10th to win 8-5. The Cardinals are now 27-42, and while we are wondering if the White Sox are going to host a rummage sale at the trade deadline, They might have company. It'll be fascinating what the Giants do, as this is unfamiliar territory for the organization. The Toronto Blue Jays hold off the Baltimore Orioles thanks to a strong performance from Jose Barrios to win 3-1. The Detroit Tigers scored 4 runs in the 4th inning to tie the game, but the Atlanta Braves were able to find a way as they beat the Tigers 6-5. Ronald Acuna Jr. belted his 15th home run of the season. The Tigers, who were hovering around 500 in May, are now 12 games below 500. I hate to say it, but the Minnesota Twins are playing some good baseball. After winning 2 out of 3 in Toronto over the weekend, the Twins have now won 2 straight against the Milwaukee Brewers, beating them 4-2. The Twins are now 35-33. The New York Mets scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning and walked off the New York Yankees in the 10th inning to win 4-3. The Mets needed that win as they improved to 32-36. The Chicago Cubs and Pittsburgh Pirates, they're playing some wild games this week. Down 5-1, the Cubs scored 6 runs in the 6th inning as they go on to win 10-6. Despite Shohei Ohtani hitting a 450-foot opposite field home run, the Texas Rangers offense was too much for the Los Angeles Angels as the Rangers win 6-3. The Cincinnati Reds keep rolling as they beat the Kansas City Royals 7-4. The Royals are now 18-50. It's their worst start in franchise history. Finally, the Miami Marlins beat the Seattle Mariners 4-1 thanks to an incredible game-saving catch from Jesus Sanchez. Facing A.J. Puck, Eugenio Suarez hit a deep fly to right field with the bases loaded that would have been a grand slam to tie the game for Seattle. But Sanchez timed his jump incredibly well and robbed Suarez to preserve the Marlins' victory. That will do it for this White Sox wake-up call. You can follow us on Twitter. We're at Sox Machine. You can follow me on Twitter at SoxMachine_Josh. Subscribe to the Sox Machine podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, such as Spotify and Apple Music. We also upload podcast episodes into our YouTube channel, which please subscribe to at youtube.com/SoxMachine. If you enjoy our work and want more, subscribe to our Patreon to receive exclusive content, ad-free versions of the website, and podcasts. Monthly plans start at $2, or you can save with an annual subscription. Again, sign up at patreon.com/SoxMachine. The White Sox Wake-Up Call is a production of SoxMachine.com, your home for all things Chicago White Sox baseball and part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I'm Josh Nelson. Thanks for listening.